I'm Steven, and I'm a level 1 chef.
I'm Joseph, and I'm a level 2 chef.
Hey, I'm Saul. I've been a professional chef for the past 20 years.
I love this dish because it's simple and it's budget friendly. That's the word of the summer.
What I love about Cacio e Pepe is texturally and flavor-wise, it is just a simple but elegant dish.
To make cacio pepe, basically you need to be a professional like me. This cacio pepe has to be creamy without being crumbly.
I'm using store-bought boxed rigatoni. It's simple, it's short, it's kind of stocky, reminds me of myself.
I'm using imported bucatini, which has, I think, a little more flavor, and I think the outside texture of the pasta sticks to the sauce a little bit more.
Bucatini, it sounds good, but I don't know where to find it.
Well, listen, you can't make everything from scratch, right? You need to take a break. Once in a while, it's okay.
The hole in the middle of the pasta allows for the cheese sauce to flow inside, which makes it taste even better.
Today, I'm making spaghetti alla chitarra from scratch.
Katara? Now you're just making up words.
I love the idea of making your own pasta from scratch, but I almost never have time for that.
The pasta is fresh, so when you mix it with water, it kind of releases all the starch out of the pasta and it makes it more creamy.
I'm going to add the salt to the water.
I like to eyeball the amount of salt, but I would say 3 tablespoons roughly. If my pasta water comes out tasting like the Atlantic Ocean, I've done it wrong.
I'm gonna make a little volcano without lava. I'm just gonna incorporate all the flour with the egg. I know it's messy, but it's okay to get messy once in a while. I'm looking for a smooth, workable dough. The reason why I love Italian food so much is because it just reminds me of all the Mexican similarities that we have in common. Also, it's grandma's food, right? Mexican food is grandma's food too. Look at this. So when I push it and it slowly bounces back, that means it's ready. Now I'm gonna let my dough rest for 20 minutes and then I'm gonna roll it out.
So now I'm gonna add the pasta to the water.
I'm going to let this pasta boil for 11 to 12 minutes.
Around 7 minutes and see if it's al dente.
Cacio e Pepe is traditionally served with a long strand noodle, which is why I like to use bucatini.
My dough has been resting for the past 20 minutes. Now it's time for some rolling. By stretching this by hand, it will make it easier to get into the machine. Look at this beautiful piece of pasta. And we're gonna do this a few times. And this is the beauty of making things from scratch. With this thing, I can control how thick or thin I want my pasta. And that's it. Yeah, I think this is the perfect size. We got it.
Right now I'm just checking to see if it's ready to be taken out, like if it's pliable.
Visually, I'll know when my pasta is done al dente, when there is a little bit of a bend to the pasta, but it's not mushy.
Perfect. So now the pasta feels nice and pliable, so it's ready to go.
5 more minutes.
It's gonna be al dente. So right now I'm gonna strain it. I'm gonna keep some of this pasta water for when I make my sauce.
Now it's time to cut our pasta, and I want to make sure it's probably 12 inches long. All the pasta is the same size. And then we have my pasta sheets for my spaghetti alla chitarra. Now I can roll it into the chitarra machine. This is a chitarra. This is where they make spaghetti alla chitarra. Or play a song for you. What do you want me to do? It looks like a guitar, correct? So guitar in Italian means guitar. What I'm gonna do is add the pasta sheets to the chitarra. I'm gonna roll it out with this rolling pin. And then I'm gonna use my fingers to push it to the strings. There you have my spaghetti alla chitarra. Look at this beauty. Beautiful.
My pasta is cooked perfectly al dente, and now I'm going to start grinding pepper. Cacio e Pepe literally translates to cheese and pepper, so I'm going to work on the Pepe, which is the pepper.
So the pepper grinder, I feel like everyone has this in their house. It's simple to use.
You could use a regular pepper grinder, however, I prefer mortar and pestle because the texture comes out a little bit more rough, which I like. Whole black peppercorns is the traditional pepper used in a Cacio e Pepe. I am going to toast them, which is the traditional way that a Cacio e Pepe is made.
I'm using 3 different types of peppercorns because I want to elevate the flavor of pepper because it's cacio and pepe.
I grew up in an Italian-American family. I think my mother would be shocked to see a cacio e pepe with multicolored peppercorns.
But here's the thing about Italians and Mexicans. We're very proud of our food. And so when someone comes and starts doing crazy stuff like me, sometimes we upset a lot of people. But again, listen, just enjoy it. Pink peppercorn are actually a dry berry. So it's peppery and floral. Green peppercorn is a fresh black peppercorn.
I didn't know that pink or green peppercorns existed.
Black peppercorns are dry green peppercorns, before and after.
Ah.
So it's a little bit more peppery, more spicy, a little bit more oily. This is going to give me a very complex cacio e pepe. I'm toasting all the peppercorns separately because of the texture of each pepper. These are super dry, so it will take a little bit longer to toast. You can smell the pepper now. This is before it was dry, so it will be faster to toast. And these are kind of super dry and it has like a shell that looks like a paper, so that will burn. So we have to make sure we toast it separately. Ooh, it's very floral right now. Now my peppercorns are toasted. Now I'm going to smash them. I got some coffee filters here. I'm gonna put them in here and I'm gonna smash it with a little hammer.
I don't even use a coffee filter for my coffee.
When I use the mortar and pestle, it's to get a coarse texture out of the pepper, which adds to not only the pepper flavor of the dish, but it adds to the texture of the bite as well.
All I'm gonna do is start grinding.
I don't want to have ground pepper. I want to have cracked pepper. I like to feel the texture of the pepper when I'm eating my pasta. And it's fun.
I like it this way. It's simpler.
I like to do this better than the pepper grinder because I feel like the flavors are there and they're not going anywhere.
I'm just rough grinding these. I don't really mind if there's different sizes and ground peppercorns.
That's it. The pepper's ready.
This is where it all comes together and becomes a cacio e pepe. It's where the cheese meets the pepper, meets the pasta. I am doing the traditional method of building the sauce in the saute pan.
Now I'm gonna make my cheese sauce and cook everything together. This is a store-bought Pecorino, Romano, and Parmesan cheese blend. They're already put together. It's already grated.
I am using authentic grated Pecorino Romano and Parmigiano Reggiano from Italy because this dish has such few ingredients that it's really all about buying the best quality ingredients that you can get.
Normally cacio pepe is made with Pecorino Romano, but I want to elevate this dish. So I'm working with 3 cheeses, a Pecorino Romano, which is the classic way, then the Parmesan cheese. And I'm using Pecorino Toscano, which is a sheep's milk cheese. I'm gonna use this Pecorino Toscano cheese wheel in 2 ways. First, as the bowl for my pasta. Second of all, I'm gonna use the cheese to make my sauce. And this will be the best bowl of your life, a cheese bowl. I'm gonna grab myself a spoon and scratch this. And I'm gonna use this cheese to mix it with the pasta. Gently, gently, gently. That's enough.
So what I'm gonna do now is just mix the grated cheese with the pasta water and make a cheesy paste that will go on the pasta later on. I think this is the easiest way to make the dish. So now I'm gonna make the cheese paste. Pour the hot water. I'm looking for a texture where it's thick enough to stick to the pasta, but not watery so much so that it becomes soup.
And now I'm gonna grate some Pecorino Romano and Parmesan cheese. So now that my pasta is ready, my cheese is ready, my pepper is ready, now we can make some cacio pepe.
So my cheese paste is done. So now I'm ready to combine everything, the cheese, the pasta, and the pepper. So I just added the pepper.
I am going to toast my peppercorns.
Spread it out so they can cook. Why did I use the whole thing? Let's try that again. No. I'm gonna start off with a reasonable amount of pepper. Looks like this.
I am looking to hear some of the peppercorns cracking, and once that scent of the pepper becomes really strong, I know I'm done.
Since I make my pasta from scratch, it's only gonna take 2 minutes to cook, and when that's cooking, I'm gonna be making my cacio pepe sauce.
Now I'm just mixing the pepper with the water so it coats the pasta easily. Now I'm gonna add some of the pasta and make the pepper coated.
Now I'm gonna add a little bit of this pasta water to my pan right here. I'm gonna add some black pepper, green peppercorns, pink peppercorns, Pecorino Romano, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of Toscano. Now we're gonna mix this pasta. I'm gonna add a little bit more hot water.
I am going to lower the heat and add the Pecorino Romano. And then I am going to add the Parmigiano Reggiano. And I am going to add a little bit of the pasta water. I'm adding olive oil to help add some creaminess and texture to the sauce. I'm looking to make sure that every bite of this pasta, you get cheese and pepper.
And now I'm gonna get rid of the pasta, add it to my bowl.
Believe in yourself, Steven. I'm gonna add the cheese paste.
So now I am going to be adding the pasta little by little. I like to cover the top of the cheese with the noodles and then add a tiny bit more olive oil to help the noodles not stick together and stick to the sauce.
When I add the cooked pasta to the cheese, it's going to make a creamy sauce. So I have to make this so quickly, otherwise the cheese will break. You have to be fast. You can't play no games.
I'm keeping the heat very low. This way it doesn't break the cheese.
I'm adding a little pasta water to help emulsify the dish and give it that natural creaminess.
Now that the sauce looks nice and melted, I'm gonna add a little bit of butter to make it a little bit more creamy.
One of the things that I really like about Cacio e Pepe is you don't need any cream or butter to have a creamy pasta. I am looking to make sure that the cheese sauce is melting from the slight heat and coating each pasta noodle.
So my pasta looks really creamy, like I want it to look.
My pasta and my sauce is all combined and looking lovely, and I am ready to plate.
First, I'm just gonna add the pasta to the plate. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper and then all of the cheese. All of the cheese.
I'm going to plate the dish by decorating this dish to look like the Italian flag because it's fun, and when my friends come over, they get a huge kick out of it, and it also tastes great. What's great about arugula is it's almost a peppery leaf, so it really complements the pepper flavor of the dish nicely. And then I'm going to add some fresh cheese on top in the middle. And red pepper flakes have a different level of heat than the black pepper flakes, which adds a little bit of contrast to the dish.
So I like to use pecorino toscano cheese wheel as a plate because it's not just for looks, it's also just in case we need more cheese, it's right there underneath you, underneath the pasta. But now I'm gonna finish it with a little bit of pecorino romano, Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of these peppers.
And this is my Cacio e Pepe.
And this is my Cacio e Pepe.
And this is my handmade spaghetti alla chitarra Cacio e Pepe.
The ingredients are simple, but it can be hard to execute, and I'm really happy with the way that this came out today.
It looks like I got the right level of creaminess.
Now the best part of my job is right here. One way to find out who's really good.
It's pretty good if I say so myself.
It tastes like everything is harmonious.
A melody. I hear a Cacio Pepe melody.
The fresh cheese on top of the melted cheese is just a textural sensation.
3 ingredients, simple, straight to the point.
This is not the traditional Cacio Pepe, but I'm very proud of it, and I love it.
I would hope that the Romans would be proud of me for this.
Very good, very good, very good.
Cacio e Pepe is a simple and delicious Roman dish based on a combination of cheese, black pepper, and pasta. Let's see how each of our 3 chefs made theirs. Joseph used an imported bucatini pasta from Italy. In Italy, it's common to use bronze dies to extrude pasta, giving it a rougher surface texture, so the sauce clings really well. In the USA, non-stick Teflon is often used, which makes the pasta smoother. Bucatini is a tubular pasta, but much longer, about 10 to 12 inches, and thinner, about 3 millimeters in diameter, than the rigatoni Stephen used. It's a lot like a long, hollow rod. Saul made handmade spaghetti alla chitarra with all-purpose flour and eggs. Fresh pasta is supple and pliable after it's rested because starches and proteins are hydrated. He used a special tool called a chitarra, which literally means guitar. This tool gives the spaghetti its name, shape, and a porous texture that allows pasta sauce to adhere well to the pasta itself. Freshly cracked black pepper is the star of this dish. Black pepper is a small, dried, immature, but fully developed berry of the Piper nigrum plant. It gets its pungency from a bioactive alkaloid compound called piperine. It changes from greenish to reddish to black after harvest and heat treatment due to enzymatic browning reactions as enzymes are released from cell walls. Stephen used a hand-cranked pepper mill for his black pepper. 2 concentric discs, also called burrs, rotate in opposite directions, forcing the black peppercorns to break and crumble when placed in between the discs. The cracked pepper is pulverized into consistently sized pieces or powder. Joseph used a mortar and pestle to crack his black peppercorns. Saul used 3 types of peppercorns, the traditional black peppercorn, but also green and pink peppercorns. Green peppercorns are black peppercorns, which were not dried. They're more mild, slightly tart and fruity, and have a higher moisture content, which makes them somewhat chewy compared to dried black pepper. Pink peppercorns are technically not peppercorns in the truest sense. They do not come from the Piper nigrum plant like black peppercorns do, but instead come from one of 3 plants: the Bayes rose plant, the Peruvian pepper tree, or the Brazilian pepper. The flavor is sweet at first with a spicy finish and a hint of menthol, a trigeminal sensation which imparts a cooling effect. Stephen used a pre-grated Parmesan and Romano blend. Stephen mixed some of his starchy pasta water, cheese, and pepper together to make a thick paste. The hot pasta water melts the cheese so that it readily coated the pasta when he added it. This is a great beginner's trick to make Cacio e Pepe. Joseph used pre-grated authentic Pecorino Romano and Parmigiano Reggiano from Italy. The smaller particle size means this cheese will blend in with the pasta easier. He did the classic method of whipping together his pepper, cheese, and pasta with starchy pasta water to emulsify the cheese mixture, creating his sauce. He had to move quickly to make sure the sauce would not break. Saul elevated his dish by using the Pecorino Toscano cheese wheel in 2 ways. He scraped the inside of it out to get cheese to build his sauce, and he also served his pasta inside the wheel, making sure every bite was super cheesy and delicious. Pecorino Toscano is a sheep's milk cheese made with rennet. It's softer than other Pecorino varieties, so it melts readily. This is a fun level 3 elevation for sure. There are different combinations of this simple but flavorful dish. Next time you're in the mood for pasta, we hope you'll crack some pepper and take some tips from our 3 fabulous chefs.